Hey everyone. This is an impromptu video that I decided to do. Not fixed up or anything. I didn't tell anyone that I was gonna go live, but I wanted to go live because I just wanted to get this video out of the way. I am doing this video on the fly, and I'm going to talk about the traumatic event that I experienced on July 29th last year, 2023. And I just want to get this out of the way because it's been on my mind for a very long time and I need to get it off my chest. I don't like having to repeat myself over and over and over. And I'm just going to say it all here. And if I have to do another cut, to say it all over again, I might do it a second time. So right now I'm going to talk about my story with regards to the 988 5150 5150 caused by Vibrant Emotional Health. It was Space Health that was the one who took my call on July 29th. Actually, let me go even backwards. So, on the evening of July 28th, I went to go visit a former friend. And I was saying goodbye to one of the kittens that I had adopted out to this person. I was ending my friendship with this person. And I was coming back home later than my husband had wanted. And my husband and I had a misunderstanding, and he got so upset with me that he said, "I don't want to see you tonight. Go sleep at your mother's house." And I had an emotional breakdown because I was so afraid. I was just afraid for my relationship with my husband, and I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to. I cannot turn to my mother for emotional support. And I'm sad to say that, but I wanted to go. I was planning on sleeping in the car at the mall. And I parked my car next to the place where you see the green lights, and that's where all the electric cars are parked to charge their car. And then I started walking over to the parking structure, because last year when I went there, no one bothered me. I was there in that space next to Dave and Buster's at the shops of Santa Anita parking garage. Last year, no one bothered me. I was there with my friend, and I was consoling her and helping her feel better. I stayed up until 3 a.m. for her because she pulled the suicide word on me, and no one bothered us there. So I didn't realize that. Like last year, I thought, no security guards came over. And so this past year, okay. So in 2022, I was there for my friend, and she had so much to vent, and I should not have stayed with her until 3 a.m., but I did, and my communication skills were not good back then. Yeah. But I spent so much time for her, and no one bothered us. But when I needed that kind of support in that moment, I called 988. And that's the last time I will ever call 988. I will not call 988 ever, 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 ever again. Because I called them when I was walking over to the parking garage. And I talked to them for about 90 minutes. And I was missing my father. And I was missing my husband. I was missing my best friend. And this emotional breakdown caused me to think about Van Gogh. And how he lived such a hard life as an artist, not appreciated by his community. To be very honest, I want to be a Van Gogh that does not die. I want to be a Van Gogh that gets appreciated. Because Van Gogh, his life was so sad. Because who's making money off of his artwork now? Who's been making money off of his artwork? No one could see how valuable Van Gogh was until after he killed himself. I talked about that with the crisis counselor. His name was Mark, and he was either a volunteer or an employee of Well Space Health based in Sacramento, contracted by Vibrant Emotional Health, who is contracted to work for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, that keeps on continuing to promote 988 as a almost like an emergency warm line. But I'm never calling that number ever, 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 ever again. Because that Mark guy from WellSpace Health, as well-intentioned as he was, got very frustrated, and, he was dismissive, invalidating, talked over me. Like, what kind of crisis counselor is that? Who's trying to invalidate you, talk over you, be dismissive of the things that you say? What kind of training did he have? And then he's getting all frustrated because I can't instantaneously be super agreeable with him. And then he tells me in my most vulnerable moments, oh, give your phone to the security guard. I tell him I saw a security guard when I was on the top floor of the parking garage. And then he breaks confidentiality. And then, so the security guard, I don't remember their names because it happened so fast. These security guards tell me that they called 911 on me. And then all of these first responders show up. The fire department shows up. They asked me casually, how are you doing? What's going on? I talked to them. They asked me to walk down the stairs with them. I was very compliant. I followed along. I thought they were going to actually be helpful. They told me, oh, go sit in the fire. No, go sit in the, what is it? Go sit next to the EMT. Go sit on the gurney next to the EMT. We're going to check your vitals. Nowhere in that process did they even say, oh, by the way, miss, we're going to bring you over to the USC Arcadia Hospital because we think that, we think your emotional distress, you calling 988 is a concern, and we're going to put you on suicide watch at USC Arcadia Hospital. Nowhere in this whole entire process did any first responder tell me what they were planning on doing. They asked me, do you have insurance? I told them, yes, I have Kaiser. What is your member number? I gave it to them. And yet they still send me to USC Arcadia Hospital instead of Kaiser Mental Health directly. What the fuck is that? I cursed because I'm so angry about the experience. And then, when the EMT asked me, so what do you use? Would you like to take some this pill to help calm you down? He gave me choice. And because he did not have anything written, name, description, side effects, because he didn't share with me that type of information, I said, no, thank you. And so I shared with him Actually, there's this YouTube song that I like that helps me to stay calm. It's like a calm meditation. And I played the song for him. And yet the car just started, the EMT car, paramedic car just started operating. It just started running. It started driving off to the hospital, the USC Arcadia Hospital. No one was telling me what was going on. No one told me, oh, we're driving you over to the USC Arcadia Hospital. I did not know what the hell was going on until I was sent to the USC Arcadia Hospital. And then I'm like, I see some signs that say Methodist Hospital of Southern California. And I'm just like, what? What? Like, wait, which hospital am I at? Where am I? What's the name of this hospital? Why does it say Methodist Hospital of Southern California when it also says USC Arcadia Hospital here? What the hell is going on? I mean, I was thinking that. I didn't say it out loud. So the EMT takes me out of the paramedic. And in a nutshell, Officer Sobrian, he comes up to me and he says, I'm sorry to have to do this to you, but do you know you're being 5150'd? And that's like fucking saying, surprise! You're being involuntarily hospitalized against your will. And you have to stay here for the next 72 hours. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I realized, wow, this is what happened. Like, I really wanted to just walk away. I wanted to go home. I just want to go home. I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. I literally just wanted to get up from the gurney and just go home, walk home. And they're just like, no, we're liable for your safety, blah, 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 blah. And like the first person who represented the hospital was a medical doctor in residency who she was like, oh, well, you have to give us consent to draw your blood. That's the only way that you're going to get out of here. Because originally I said, no, I do not consent. But then I was just like, I begrudgingly said, fine. Okay, fine. If this is the only way I'm going to get out of this 5150, then fine. I'll consent to you drawing my blood. Fuck. And then they eventually put me in a room. One of the rooms where there's glass doors. So they could see me from the hallway. They put me on suicide watch. They put me on, they changed my clothes to wearing this purple gown. They didn't immediately take away my phone. But they seriously were watching me. All it was is about liability. And then they had their security guard. The security guard just dilly dallied on his cell phone while watching, just glancing up at my room to make sure that I'm not trying to harm myself from inside the ER room. And the overall experience at UST Arcadia was so terrible because when my nurse switched over to this white lady named Carol Beggs, why is this not recording anymore? Okay, it's kind of slow to record. But yeah, she took away my phone. I requested documentation as to why that was necessary. Why did you need to take away my phone when the phone has a purpose to help individuals with emotional distress to not feel alone? This device became so important for individuals to learn how to cope during the pandemic through virtual support groups. And they fucking took that away from me. They didn't even share with me what my patients' rights were. Carol threw away my phone. Sorry. Delete. Carol threw away my breakfast. She was so rude. She calls, she asks me, "Oh, are you done with your breakfast?" "Oh, never mind. I'm just gonna throw it away anyways without waiting for your response. Your breakfast is gonna come soon enough." And then it shows up like 2 hours later, 3 hours later. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Where is the decency? Where is the code of ethics in the ER? Because clearly this lady has none. She was so rude. And because of nurses like her, and the nurses in general writing false information, all the healthcare workers who contributed to my 5150, I don't trust any of them because they wrote false information in my patients' records. I was able to find that out after my 5150 because I managed to get a copy of my patients' records from that experience, which was so traumatizing. And but most importantly of all in that terrible experience was that my husband showed up 3 times on the first day when he realized I was in the hospital. And I was so grateful for his presence. Because sometimes when I'm in a moment of distress and I feel like everyone's abandoned me, you know that you should still keep living. And honestly, yes, I did have suicidal thoughts. But I had no plan. I had no detailed plan. And the social worker in the ER, she wrote in my patient's records that yes, I have a detailed plan and that I have, but then like the paragraph right after, she writes, oh, patient reports that she does not want to harm herself or anyone else. What the fuck is that? Oxymoron. Paradox. What the hell? False information. And then the nurses wouldn't even listen to me either. Oh, and then the friggin' fucking doctor ordered the EKG on me. And then, like, no one even tells me that I can decline this stupid EKG you know. I'm like, I never wanted this. Why are you just doing this to me? What the fuck? The doctor didn't even spend one whole minute in the room with me. And he also wrote in my patient's records, oh, I spent enough time with her to do a thorough health examination. Fuck you! Fuck you! And USC Arcadia has the fucking audacity to send me something in the mail that says, oh, this is not a bill, but we're going to charge your Kaiser insurance over $7,000. $7,000. We're going to charge your Kaiser $7,000. This is not a bill. Oh, and then after everything, they're like, oh, we still want you to pay up $60. What the fuck? Why do you still need $60? And then Arcadia ambulance bill is like over $2,000. What the hell? And then Kaiser eventually pays $1,200, and then they're like, "Oh, we still want you to pay $474.74." What the fuck? Your fire department personnel failed to talk to me, to tell me what the hell was going on. I do not operate with insinuations, indirect body language. I need you to talk to me. And then so when I was at USC Arcadia Hospital, they also switched my room. They switched me over from the room with the glass doors to a corner room where the door was so huge that the door could not be closed. And the door could not be closed because the door was so wide. And they told me, oh, Kaiser Mental Health won't take you unless your high blood pressure goes down. And so I was trying to tell them, look, nurses, if you want my blood pressure to go down, I need you to listen to me. How many times do I have to repeat myself? I don't like the sounds of the hallway of the ER because it's very distressing and noisy. But because they're like, oh, well, we can't close the door because you're on suicide watch. What the fuck? You're keeping me here longer than I want to. It's like, if you don't have a psychiatric advance directive, no one's going to listen to you? How's that make any sense? I am a very sane person. I was so coherent that during those 50 hours, I remember a lot. And so finally, when my husband, showed up a third time in the first day on July 29, because I don't know why the nurse finally listened to me. And then the nurse was like, oh, okay, well, since your husband's here, then if we close the door, then, I don't know. Why didn't they listen to me earlier? And so when they finally closed the door to check my vitals and my blood pressure, fuck, my blood pressure went down by a lot. And because they finally listened to me. And then they could finally report that information over to Kaiser, and then, and then Kaiser found a medical transport to have me transported from USC Arcadia Hospital over to Kaiser Mental Health. And honestly, they actually had to put me in restraints when they transported me over from USC Arcadia Hospital to Kaiser. They put me in restraints on the gurney. I mean, they were nice, but they put me in restraints. And then when we arrived at Kaiser, I seriously felt like I was going into a jail. I'm like, it was not the prettiest sight. Seriously. I mean, I need to show you what those experiences were like, because I'll show you by showing you on my phone. I mean, I don't wish my experience on anybody. So this was when I was being transported from our Arcadia Fire Department EMT, and then that was what I saw when I was in there. I was like, and it was a very short ride. I'm like, this first picture I took was at 12:25, and then they took. It was a very short ride, like a 5-minute ride, and you want to charge me over $2,000? What? How does that make any sense? And so I was taken in. around 12:30 a.m. It says, "Oh, welcome to Methodist Hospital." And then I took it's too bright. So that was what I took a picture of the reflection. And then like that's from when the cops were trying to do a report or something, submit me into the hospital for a 5150. And then the fire department left. And then they gave me a thing to wear. The first nurse was kind of nice, neutral. They're like, "Oh, you have to put on this outfit." And I'm like, this is kind of an interesting experience. But then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't take a photo of me, like a slight smile. So that's why I was like, okay, this is very interesting. I mean, got followed to the bathroom. They give you chocolate pudding. They give you applesauce. They give you plastic spoon, apple juice, Jello. I'm like, how is that healthy for a hospital, you know? And then I took this picture at 3 a.m. And they gave me my breakfast around 9 a.m. And this was the security guard with that cap who was like making such a fuss for like, oh, I was trying to tell them like, oh, the light in the emergency room is just so bright. I if you want me to sleep and rest, I need you to close the curtain. Oh, that was that little open area was like our compromise. But he was looking down because he was always looking at his Oh, wait, actually, you know what? The time was completely wrong. It said it was 9 p.m. when actually it was 3:10 a.m. I'm like, what? It was 3:11 a.m. and then their clock was completely off. I was so tired. I did so much crying. This was the room I was in at an angle. I was on this kind of bed. This is when they gave me my breakfast at 7:10 a.m. in the following morning. This was my breakfast. A banana, cereal, fat-free milk, apple juice, Jello, egg, coffee, some bread, a banana. And they would give me freaking like water in styrofoam cups. Like look at all that styrofoam. And then this was supposed to be so I got between 9/11 and 1:15, I got moved from one room to another. And so like this was still the room with the glass doors, and then this was when I got moved into the other room with the huge wide door, and they couldn't close the door because the door was so wide. But yeah, I wasn't finished with this, and I got moved over to the other room, and then the nurse freaking just threw away my food. How is that nice? This chicken meal, though, man, it was so horrible. I'm just like, wow, this is shitty, tasteless food. All because you know that I have high blood pressure. And then after that, after 1:15 sometime on July 29th, that's when Carol, the nurse Carol, took away my phone and didn't even show me in writing what my patient's rights were, or why they had to take away my phone. No explanation. So the phone was not given back to me until around 6 a.m. on July 30th morning, when I was transported from USC Arcadia Hospital to Kaiser Mental Health. So before, this was on the gurney when they were trying to get me on the medical transport, and that's when they had not restrained me yet. And that was the second room. This is in darkness. This was the second room that I was put in. See how wide the door was? So yeah, that was the second room I was in, and I was in restraints on the way to Kaiser Mental Health. And it was so early in the morning, you could see the sun rising. And I was like, oh, interesting about the symbol. This was a view of the outside. Too bright. Still too bright. Yeah, too bright. Now look at that. Don't those look like doors that like you're gonna be taken into a jail? Right? Looks like doors to a jail. So, and then they took away my phone, and they took away my phone again. When I got to Kaiser, I thought, like, maybe I'm gonna have therapy here. Oh, yay! Maybe there'll be more, like, a lot of support groups to go to. I was honestly trying to be hopeful, but when I got in there, I was just like, what the fuck? This is it? There's only a TV? There's only 2 puzzles? There's like coloring pages? A few markers? A few coloring crayons? And then there's like a schedule, like, oh, here's a schedule. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, I guess so. And then some of the patients or other patients were pretty nice. Okay. And then, like, I'm just like, wow, there's nothing to do in here. This is pretty much adult babysitting service by TV. Wow. This whole experience is so shitty. Not a healing place at all. Not another a place that's not healing, just like the ER wasn't. I mean, because that Carol, going back to USC Arcadia Hospital, that Carol lady, she's like, oh, trying to make small talk with me. Oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a suicide prevention advocate. Then what are you doing here? Fuck you, lady. Fuck you. You know? Like this, I I hate being able to see this image near my home. Like, USC Arcadia Hospital spends so much money on billboards, advertising. Like, they're trying to advertise, like, oh, emergency expertise, heartwarming care. Heartwarming care, my ass. So when I think about this experience in USC Arcadia Hospital, I never want to be taken to USC Arcadia ever again. Based on the experience, I'm like, every time I think about them and all the people who fucking put me in my 5150, this is my third finger. This is my fucking third finger. For everyone who put me in my 5150. And even when I told my story to NAMI at the NAMI Greater Los Angeles County conference, wow. At least two people said, I'm glad you were 5150'd. All right, well, fuck you too. Because I wish my experience on nobody. I basically got raped. I got raped by the system. I'm a sexual assault survivor. Rape survivor. I wish my experience on nobody. Because, later, Kaiser sent me a bill for $2,800 plus. $2,800 plus. What the fuck? What the fuck, Kaiser? What the fuck, government? If you have a law that can involuntary hospitalize anyone against their will, there should be a law that explains that it should not be right to charge a person for an involuntary hospitalization when they never gave any fucking consent to it. So there should be a law that pays for it. Not me. I never consented. And then it took a long time for me to realize that, oh shit, there's other people who are advocating against this stupid system. Like Rob Wypen. He wrote this book, Your Consent is Not Required. And I need to read this book soon. Because he's going to be featured on a panel with me on January 22nd, 2024. And over 250 people worldwide or nationwide are going to be present. Because we're going to talk about how fucked up 988 is. Because the last time I talked to Vibrant Emotional, how they basically said, oh, if you want to get your 90-minute recording from us, you have to file a court order or subpoena. Wow. So you want me to file a lawsuit against you? Wow. I need to make a shortened version of this video. But it's like if this happened to me, this is happening to other people every day. They're being traumatized by the mental health, the psychiatric wards. Because people do not know what the fuck they're doing. Like, we literally had hardly any groups going on over the weekend. Like, or no, like we didn't even have a payphone that worked. It's like I followed their instructions and they I don't know. It's just I followed their instructions for how to use the telephone, and I call my friend and I ask him to call me back, and then he doesn't call me back. Like, what the fuck? I was like, why didn't you? And later I asked him, why didn't you call me? He said, well, the phone number didn't work. Oh, wow. Thanks, Kaiser. Motherfucker. You don't even know that your phone line's not working. So we didn't even have a working phone number to work call anyone. And then we got male nurses checking in on female patients while they're changing. Gosh. And then I asked the male nurse, I'm like, hey, why do you like blur out the window in our rooms? Our rooms were so cold. Super duper 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 cold. I had to wear double the blankets to be warm in there. I was like, wow, this is so shitty. I feel no heat in here. And so I asked the nurse, why do you guys blur out the windows? And he says, oh, so no one from the outside can look inside. Yeah, but you're opening the door to our bed, our dorm like room, our sleeping room. Whenever you want. I reported this to a female nurse, and she's like, her reaction basically is, this is how it is in here. Tough it. I mean, it was so bad in there. I facilitated my own support group in there. I didn't even care about what the hell was on TV. They wouldn't even give us the remote to use to change the channel. It literally was adult babysitting service by TV. Other patients in there were like, oh, the psychiatrist said that I could leave early. Or that I could leave now, but my mom doesn't want to pick me up. What the hell? I facilitated my own casual support group in there. I worked on a puzzle with 2 other people. The Asian girl who I was put in a room with, she said to me, you're the funnest person in here. Thank you. And then, the person who took me in, did my intake with me, he had me sign off of all these papers. Make sure you don't buy any guns. You're not allowed to buy guns in the next, I don't know how many years, 5 years. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care about touching guns. So this doesn't affect me. I don't know. And then I was like, I literally felt like I was the only person reading the Kaiser Mental Health Service Standards rules for the employees, for the nurses on the wall. I'm like, what? It says don't touch your patient's belongings. They touched my stuff like at least 3 times without notifying me ahead of time. Like, and then I even overheard a nurse shouting at another patient. Like, how is this a safe place? How is it a safe healing place? And the irony of it all is that the social worker, the last social worker who did a morning like journals writing activity, invites everyone to write about, oh, what makes you feel emotionally safe? Fuck, not this place. Definitely not this place. It was so cold physically and emotionally. And so by the time that, the psychiatrist, I only met with the psychiatrist like, I don't know, 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't remember how long that meeting was. And he basically diagnosed me with 3 disorders. Or yeah. And then he says, "Oh, you're fine." So I got out in 50 hours. I was able to leave the next morning. But he also was trying to convince me to take my medication. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll start small. So I started with Lexapro, 5 milligrams. But the next day they doubled it and they didn't even tell me why. I mean, USC Arcadia did the same thing. They gave me a medication without informing me what it was until I looked at the patient's records to see, oh, they gave me a psychiatric drug while I was in the ER. Like, that is just, where the fuck are their ethics? Even Kaiser's. Why'd you double my dose? I was so sleepy the day my husband picked me up around 10 a.m. on July 31st. I was so sleepy because they gave me 10 milligrams of Lexapro. What the hell? And so I was so sleepy the rest of the day, and there's just too much to talk about. I'm going to end this here. This whole experience was depressing, and 1 hour of talking about it is enough for me. So I'm going to go do something more positive now and think about how Martin Luther King Jr. is. After all, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and he did say, "I dream of the day when my 4 children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." So where is the fucking character building in today's society? Because healthcare workers are falsifying information in their patients' records in order to cover their butt. What the fuck? I have no respect for them. You have to prove your character and show that you can be trusted, not just because you have letters behind your name. I can't trust you. I can't. Especially when you are falsifying information in my patient's records. I will not die in a hospital, especially not USC Arcadia Hospital, nor Kaiser Mental Health, nor Aurora Las Encinas, where my uncle was overly drugged by psychiatric drugs over a year ago. That will not happen to me. I will die in my own home. Remember to come to my January 22nd event, though. Okay? I'm probably not going to talk about it nearly as much as I am right now, but Wallflower Alliance is highlighting our webinar on January 22nd from 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time, 1 to 3 Central Standard Time, or 11 to 1 Pacific Standard Time where I am. So I hope you will join me. Over 250 people are signed up to attend, and and I'm going to go rest now. Have a good Monday, everyone.